Morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're listening from. You're welcome to Sambus Geospatial's webinar. This is the first webinar of the year, and it's a good point to say Happy New Year to all our webinar audience. Happy New Year to our clients. Happy New Year to the Geospatial community at large. Yes, this year our webinar is taking a very, very different shape. We have upgraded it and is back bigger and better. Each month, we'll be having webinars that will address pertinent issues in the industry we find ourselves. Several industries over the years will have webinars that will address issues that are burning, issues that are gaining global attention. And this is what we are going to be doing this year. So it's good to have you all on board. We are happy that you have joined us once again. My name is Chidebere Unajebulam, and I'll be your host for this webinar this afternoon. We have several things we are going to discuss today, bordering on NGOs and community impact. And I'm glad to be taking you through this session. I have other people with me who will be joining as time goes on. So we are going to start at this point in time. So Sambus is an organization with a mission. We have a mission to ensure effective use of technology for planning, management, and operations, and enhance decision-making across West Africa. And key to achieving this goal is the advancement of geospatial knowledge. So we do this by webinars, just as we are having now. We have webinars at key times during the year to help address some of these issues and ensure that knowledge is passed to our audience. We also engage in trainings and professional services, both for government organizations, for private individuals, and private parastatals as well. To help us achieve this, we have also forged partnerships with various industry leaders in the GIS sphere. One of them is the ESRI. We have been partners with ESRI over the years, and we are the sole distributor of ESRI products in West Africa. Of course, we all know the ESRI flagship product, the RGS Pro. We are the sole distributors of the products in West Africa. The next is Wingtra drones, a drone that is known for how easy it is to use, its efficiency, as well as high quality imagery. Next is the Trimble GNSS solutions. These are fast, accurate, and powerful solutions for capturing coordinates and data. It's also known for its ruggedity and durability. Then, of course, we have the NV5 Premium Imagery Solutions. These imagery solutions, we know them for the flagship product MV. MV is known all over the world, and they help you analyze images very, very well. The next we have is the head technology. Head technology is the number one solution for location data. Yes, when you need a hub where you can get location data to help you in automated driving, to help you in assisted driving, head technology is the place to go. And Sambus Geospatial is a place to be. So, why community impact? Yes, we are starting off the year with community impact because it is a burning issue. Community impact is something that is predominant in West Africa and Southeast Asia, especially where poverty levels are high. We find that we have dilapidated communities, we have communities with no infrastructure, we have communities with no government presence. So how is GIS going to help us in making impact in our community? We want to ask, how important is community impact? Community impact is so important that the World Bank has spent $44.2 billion as of 2013 in community-driven projects around the world. This project spans over 96 countries, which is around 50% of the countries in the world. Southeast Asia having the largest share with around more than 50%, and then Africa with around 28%. So this is a burning issue. This is an issue that has made the government, the World Bank, spend so much money on, and that is why we are delving into it today. And we have no other person to help us in this journey
The
than
Sambus.
our speaker, Joshua Oyedikachi Okeke. Yes, he is our distinguished speaker for this session, and he'll be taking us on GIS for community impact. He's a geospatial data scientist, a graduate teaching assistant at the University of New Mexico. He's also the co-founder of Geospatial Nigeria Forum, Data Science Society of Nigeria as well. He is a board member of North Star GIS and as well a GIS analyst with Pettigrew and Associates. Interestingly, he's also a volunteer tutor at the University of New Mexico's Africans American Student Services. So let's give it up for our speaker as he will come up and give us a brief rundown of what he has for us today. Mr. Joshua Oyedikachi Okeke, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I'm sure you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. You're welcome, Mr. Joshua. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I have a question for you before we start. The question is, do you think $44.2 billion is too much money to be spent on communities?
Yeah, I think that money worth it, right? Because if you look at what we benefit from those communities, because most of those communities are like the bank, or they are also preserving our environment. You know, those are where you will see in terms of ecology, green areas are in those communities. So spending those money in those communities are very important. But at the same time, most of this money they don't even get to those communities. That's another challenge. It's just money. You are just seeing those figures, but most of them goes to operational cost, bureaucracy, and corruption.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Joshua. So I'll hand over to you from now.
Okay. Thank you very much, and I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. So today I'll just look at leveraging on GIS and analysis. Leveraging GIS and spatial analysis for local government decision making. Well, like he has rightly introduced, there are a lot of money that's spent on rural areas. And why is it very important in terms of communities? You know, it's very important to apply geospatial analysis, especially before deciding how to allocate resources to communities. And this is what is happening especially in a country like Nigeria, because you discover that every year budget is allocated, but most states are you discover that they have a lot of money, they look rich, but at the same time, you go to those states, you look at the rural areas, there are still people they are still out of school, children that are still out of school, hospitals that don't have nurses, and the rest of that. However, so because of what, there were no location analysis, there were no consideration. Some of these things were just considered because of, okay, we have a number of population in those areas. So how do we actually apply spatial analysis? So this section would be I will try to be practical. I'll take like 15 minutes and we'll move to transit to pro, and I'll just run some analysis with you. So understanding our world through GIS, geospatial technology allows to analyze, visualize, and interpret data for better decision making. It plays a critical role in education, health, water, access, agriculture, urban and community development. Now, these things I just mentioned now are the key fibers or the fabrics that runs our community, especially local communities, in terms of education, health, access to water. Many local governments, which is like the community level outside the words, in Nigeria lack expertise and tools to leverage GIS impact. So which means most of the so-called spatial or GIS implemented in those states are limited to just land administration or surveying. So the objective of this webinar is to explore how GIS can enhance decision making, demonstrate the application of GIS in LGA development, right? So understanding where to allocate resources. Okay, here is the challenge. Key challenges in local government decision making. Inadequate spatial planning, yes. When you don't plan spatially, when we talk about planning, we're not saying, okay, where do we establish the road? Where do we put the roundabout? Where do we put the traffic light? No, that is not the plan we're talking about. But poorly distributed schools. When an administrator feels, okay, I am from this local government, the polytechnic, you discover the polytechnic should be found, or the school, the new secondary school should be close to my house, or should be in my community, is a problem. That's a very poor way to plan, right? So which means even if your local government has the least amount of schooling age children, then you want to establish it there. Then another one is limited data utilization. A lot of data are being generated in Nigeria, but there is no unification. There is no data warehouse. There is no data bank, right, to harmonize this data. So which means you have the Ministry of Education. They have a lot of data there syncing, like number of people that have graduated from the school, number of enrollments. They have that. You have different ministries, agriculture, water resources. But what do you notice? All these data are not even linked, and they are not utilized. And when you don't utilize data, right, is like a lion that does not have teeth, right? You can't do anything. Now, the next thing is ineffectiveness in public services. Okay, uneven teacher-student ratio, poor access, poor health access, right? So which means if even after building those buildings, you don't have an effective resource allocation, because if you understand that there is going to be high prevalence of malaria in the particular area based on spatial analytics, you've done okay. There's a lot of spatial analytics work have been done in that area. Okay, if we discover that there will be high rate of malaria prevalence, which means we could stock more of malaria drugs in this area than in another location. For example, if you discover that there is an outbreak of cholera in another location, you could stock more of cholera diseases or prevention or drugs in those areas. Same thing with uneven teacher and student ratios, because if a community is sick, you don't expect teachers to stay long there. If there is no economic activities thriving in a community, definitely you will not be able to attract maybe NYC, NYC members to come to that community to even serve. They will always avoid it. So you see how there is a relationship and pattern between these factors that drives communities. Now, the next is lack of geospatial expertise. Yes, we don't have, I'm saying it that out of Nigeria 774 local government, at least we should have a GIS desk officer in each of these local government. Not just the GIS officer, there should be a GIS office in each of these local government. It will go a long way, even if they are to report out data of activities going on there, then you'll be able to know when, where, and who, right? You are going to answer these are the questions GIS answers, right? Now, then why it matters. Now, without spatial analysis, resource allocation is inefficient, leading to wider inequalities in education, health, and infrastructure. And that is why you keep hearing billions of naira or dollars, and yet you still have high rate of out of school children. You still have high rate of malnutrition because of what? These resources are not, most of them are allocated based on emotions. So Solution to GIS communities. One, for example, how GIS can drive positive change through education, mapping student-teacher ratio, identifying underserved areas, health, analyzing health care facility and distribution and accessibility, right? These things need to be analyzed. You don't just go beyond, you should have to go beyond just collecting those data. Then water sanitation, locating functional and non-functional water resources or sources, examine land, use terrain and climate influences to understand, okay, a lot of wells have been sunk or digged. How many are being affected by groundwater inefficiency or lack of groundwater? You see, these are geospatial analysis that can be done. And that way, even without visiting those wells, you'll be able to know, okay, we have 500 wells in this region. Already 200 have been affected by what? Groundwater. It's not spiritual. It's not the gods that are drying the wells. It's the table water that is drying up if you do all this kind of analysis. So geospatial tools for impact, you have thematic mapping, hotspot analysis. These are just few, right? And also spatial statistics, So like I always advocated, we have Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. We should also have Nigerian Bureau of Spatial Statistics, right? Because Nigerian Bureau of Statistics just gives you numbers, right? But there is no location. So it's not complete. All right, so let's look at this case study using GIS to analyze variables, right? You have education infrastructure, you have schools, and this is what most your NGOs, non-profit organizations try to do. They tend to identify these things going on in the communities, and whether US aid, it's so unfortunate that the funding now has to be cut, from the US government. So now, what are we going to do? Now we just discover that, in fact, the whole of, a sector in the health, in Nigerian health sector is being funded by the US government. So what happens? So you discover that schools, student to teacher ratios, classroom facilities, availability, healthcare, availability of hospitals, doctors, because students fall sick, teachers fall sick, and where would they go to? Health centers. Students, teachers have to rely on water and sanitation for them to live, comfortably in the community where they have to teach the students. And if these things are lacking, there is no teacher that will want to stay in these communities. So you see where the challenge is. So it's not about building the schools. What are other aspects, relationships? Then we also have the environmental factor. For example, elevation, rainfall, NDVI. Yes, NDVI, which shows you the net vegetation index. That shows you how green the area is. Or then you have the land surface temperature, which is actually a challenge. Some people will tell you, okay, I don't want to go to Sokoto because it's too hot. That also has to do with what land surface temperature. I don't want somewhere I don't like places that are very hot. Some people will tell you, I don't want to go to Jos because it's very cold. I don't like places that are very cold. Then identify LGAs with high student ratio, mapping health science. So quickly, I will run this demonstration. So this is a kind of analysis that can be performed before even implementing any intervention, whether from the government or from NGOs. These are the kind of analysis to perform. It gives you insights that will support your decision. So I'm going to be running, yes, we used to have the geographically weighted regression before now, but we discovered that it was not really as robust as in terms of the bandwidth. So newly on ArcGIS Pro, we now have the multi-scale geographically weighted regression. And this allows us to examine how spatial relationships vary across region. So I will quickly switch to ArcGIS Pro. Okay, So we have the ArcGIS Pro, and so the interesting thing is, I'll just quickly run through the attribute I have here. And we can see we have 821, and for a particular reason, my data still has Bakassi, and maybe I still don't want to give it to Cameroon. So however, you see 821 because I want to make sure every space is accounted for. If you only work with 774 local governments, then some places might be empty, but here we want to account for every part of the country. So that's why you are seeing 821 plot instead of 774. But actually, it's actually 774 local governments. Okay, so quickly, I want to do. So this is the multi-scale geographically weighted regression, and here I'm looking at the student ratio. How student ratios to teachers. What other factors influences student ratios to teachers? So I have a lot of variables, that I can play around with. Okay, let me show this. Okay, so, and I have student ratio. So I don't want to select all. Now, I could go with how does rainfall affect student to teacher ratio? How does slope or terrain affect student to teacher ratio? Then total number of hand pumps. So you see that it allows you, it's like infinite. It's like multiverse. You could look at how every factor affects any factor. That is what the leverage of multi-criteria, multi-scale geographically weighted regression gives you. And I will select all. You see, I have a lot of factors we can play around here with. Let me.
Is it now doing the analysis?
Say that again.
Sorry, Mr. Onyeka, Dr. Onyeka, we cannot see your screen. Oh, sorry, please.
Oh, okay. Please, can you see Pro?
No.
Okay, let me share that again.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, please. Okay, that's fine. Okay, then I was trying to show you that the LGA I want to. So I was saying that the LG data I have here is 108, 21 instead of 774 because I don't want to have an empty space. I want to ensure that all the land. Surprisingly, some people don't know that there are some LGAs that are two. It's the same LGA, but they have two plot lands, apart. I think somewhere in Edo State, you have two. They are not connected. They are not adjacent. So there are some LGAs like that in Nigeria, and we still have disputed areas in Nigeria. But however, my own still has Bakassi Peninsula. Maybe I don't want to give it to Cameroon, so I'm still keeping it. So this is just the attribute table I'm using. And for this attribute table, the source of this data is from the default Millennium Development Goal. Millennium Development Goal was actually running before they replaced it with the Sustainable Development Goal, and they were able to get a lot of data for Nigeria by LGA, right? So I'm just going to run, I want to see factors that affect student to teacher ratio in some of these LG. And like I said, I have a lot of factors we could play around with. And that is what MGWR reveals to you. So I'm going to look at rainfall. Then, so my dependent variable will be the student to teacher ratio, right? Then I'm going to select projected population, and also I can go and select as many variables as I want. I just want to see how they affect number of health centers, right? Total number of health centers. You also have total number of taps, and also total of number of electric systems or solar systems. Okay, so I think I'll go with this, and I want the neighborhood type to be search distance, and I'll use a user defined in meters. So because Nigeria is very large, I'm just going to use 36,000 search distance band. So which means the relationship between each of these variables should be like around 36,000, which is not bad since we are looking at the entire country. So quickly, I'll just run this and
let me start. Just I think your screen has frozen.
My screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
No, the screen is I can see the screen.
Oh, okay. Okay. I know we all have questions, so I will just quickly run this too. Then okay, number of health centers. Okay. So some might have zero tolerance. That is what it's trying to tell me, because of what the in terms of if it shows that okay, there is a lack of disparities or distribution of such data across. So it means a minimum number of tolerance to run. So you can see that is already running and the analysis is getting ready. And we have the result. We have this residual. They are giving us the residual, and not just the residuals, it gives us predicted pattern, population at risk, and the rest of that. I won't go in detail through all these results, but what I really want us to look at is now with this, you're able to know which area or which of the local government area really needs attention in terms of student ratio based on the factors that were selected. You understand? So how many local government have been affected by maybe lack of water, or how many local government student to teachers ratio is being affected by lack of water, or by lack of electricity, by lack of basic amenities, other amenities. So this is the kind of analysis that can be done. I will not want to go through this in detail, so quickly I will go back to the presentation. Yeah. So, but this is how you get this insight from running. So I'll go back to the presentation. Okay, so what we just do, we were able to look at, we used the student to teacher ratio in primary schools, as the dependent variables. And as I told you, you can use different other factors as independent variables: population factors, educational infrastructure, health and water access, environmental variables. So what is the expected result of any almost MGWR? It shows you which factors are most influential, which factors most influence student to teacher ratios across the LGAs, regional disparities in educational infrastructure, targeted intervention for policy making. So areas that really need urgent attention by policymakers. Then key takeaways: GIS empowers data-driven decision making in community development, like I just demonstrated. Spatial analysis improves planning for education, health, and infrastructure. Well, MGWR helps identify local level variation for better policy recommendation. Don't forget, MGWR is just one of some of those tools that are embedded in ArcGIS Pro. So ArcGIS Pro, I always said, is beyond creating maps and adding legends and not arrow. There are a lot that can be achieved on that platform. So, call to action: apply geospatial techniques to real-world projects in your LGA or locality. Okay. Questions and discussion, please. Thank you.
Yes, we have a hand up. Moinuluwa Olajude. So Moinuluwa, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
All right. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry about that. Thank you, Mr. Okeke, for your knowledge. We've really learned a lot from you. I think I'll go straight to my question: is how do you source some of this data that you use? How can, because some of these solutions you brought about, individuals can take it on to, carry out some of this analysis voluntarily. And, doing it voluntarily, you would need to gather this data. Some of them would have cost a lot to gather. Some may not cost a lot. So in what way, how do you gather some of this data? Are there places where people can get this data in which they will not have to spend a lot of money, and then they'll be able to use it to analyze, create solutions to help the environment? Thank you.
Okay, when it comes to data like this, most times it's not even getting the data. Interestingly, these data are available to you free of charge and access, but the challenge of this data is processing it. I can tell you that it took me months to clean up the data to be in this shape, to be able to be analyzed, because you cannot talk about spellings, especially the local government. There are some local government that has 3 variants or 5 variants of their spellings. And you also have the issue of, like, there's a particular local government in Lagos State and has the same particular local government in the same name in Oyo State. I forgot the name. I think it's Shagamu or so. Or I forgot the name of that local government. So you have issues like that. But some of the places you can go to is humanitarian data exchange. You can go to humanitarian data exchange, and thank God for AI, ChatGPT. You can ask ChatGPT to give you link on places you can get this data. But like I said, the data are accessible. You can download them, but most times you have to take a lot of time to process. But for this one I just used, this is from the default MDG. It might not even be recent, but it's still what is used as baseline till today, right? In terms of number of schools, number of health centers in Nigeria, that data is still used as baseline up till today, because there have never been any detailed socioeconomic survey that has been done that pinpoints location of these facilities like it was done. And I think the MDG ended in, I think, 2008 or 2009, right? So that's it. However, aside the MDG, I also used Google satellite images, like extracting the average NDVI for each local government, extracting the average slope for each local government. All that I did using satellite data. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joshua, for that. We have another question on the comment section. And it says, thank you so much for the class. Can MGWR help with maternal health inequality analysis and predict health outcomes? Also, where can we get health data at the LGA levels?
Okay, yes, it can, because MGWR is a predictive. So that's why I said I was unable to go into detail, but it's predictive, right? It's because it's kind of regressional. It's regressional, so it's predictive, and we all know that regression analysis is a predictive analysis. So, yes, it can help you predict that and gives you insight on, areas that need support in terms of maternal disease. But the most important thing is the data, how you get the data. Then, like I've mentioned earlier, you could get data from the, you can get data from DHIS, Digital Health Information System, DHIS2. I think they have an academy. You can register online and they will give you access. Then USAID portal, you could get some of this data from there. Then Humanitarian Data Exchange is owned by the UN. So when you go there, just search Nigeria and you see list of available data. Then for agriculture, you could get from FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization of Nigeria, right? You could also get from UNICEF if you are interested in information about children. But some of these data are restricted. You need to ask for permission, and you wait for some days for them to give you access to them. Then when they come very, very dirty. I won't say dirty, but disorganized. So you need some certain level of data engineering to be able to organize them, clean them up, and make them fit for purpose. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Jai. Please, can you unmute yourself and speak?
Oh, I'm sorry. Good afternoon. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Actually, I'm a beginner. I have no solid knowledge about GIS, so my thoughts might not be well aligned. But I've been going through resources about GIS for some months now. So, but one thing I noticed that I would like the speaker to please help with some answers on it. The data you shared, if I'm right, is like a secondary data. But my previous findings shows that I think there are applications where you can use combination of survey data with secondary data that you have to make more analysis and more findings. So I think the organizations, most private organizations, that are relying very deeply into survey data that comes from MBS. Most of their I can't pinpoint the name they do call, but those cluster data, not on the publication, but there is another platform they do host the data, so they rely on using those survey data to make extra findings. So how can you just in a brief minute explain how this works? Also, I would like you to help share resources that can help me, for especially as a beginner and someone still learning, on how to go about this. And is there a venue for someone like me to reach out to you, get to connect, and get to learn more from you?
Okay, Thank you very much for your say. But I just wanted to say that the data I'm using is not a secondary data. However, is an aggregated data, right? So if we are applying the principle of primary and secondary is this data was not gotten from the data were captured from the field. There's GPS coordinate for all the health centers. The GPS coordinates, in fact, I have a dashboard I created that has locations of health centers in. So there's GPS coordinate that when you zoom in, you will see the health center. So the data was collected from each health center, each school. The survey was conducted on those things. So it's actually primary data, but I aggregated to local government level. So hopefully my next phase of this analysis is to use it to be based on pinpointing, using the data raw, like in terms of using based on the locations of the schools. That's one for your first question. The second question is fine. Yeah, I know there are a lot of organizations that are into data. I don't want to mention names, and because I've been in the NGO sector in Nigeria for more than 7 years. I've worked with USAID. I've worked with FCDO, and which is the UK aid, and I've also worked with Plan International, right? So I understand that there are organizations that help get primary data, and also work with NDS on that. Finally, for your question is, I think the best bet is when anyone is new to GIS, I keep telling people, if you are new to GIS, don't just jump on Python. Don't jump on R. Don't jump on. There's difference between Python and GIS. So the best bet is to understand the fundamentals of GIS. And where can you get that? You can go to Esri training to get, there are courses that helps you with the basics of GIS, or you get materials or books, right, that explains the fundamentals of GIS. And once you are by house, you've understand that fundamentals, then you can now decide on which platform you want to learn with. Python is not the first platform you should go for. At least I recommend start with ArcGIS or any other open source GIS software. You understand? GIS software. So before you can now proceed to say, okay, I want to now start scripting or using Python or R, So that way, your knowledge will be very sound, and resilient, and you understand the basics. You can apply that to any reward solution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Before we come to Samuel, we'll take one question from the comment section. Someone is asking, is it good to do all this analysis? It is good to do all this analysis and nice inputs from your experience. How do you convince the government to utilize these systems to make meaningful impacts, especially in the Nigerian context?
Well, I'm not with the government, and I don't think I have any interest in politics. But that is a different thing entirely, because, and it's very complex. That's a challenge. But for people like me, we will keep doing what we are doing, and we have to just like an evangelist, we just have to keep preaching, and we just have to. So, but for the government implementing, oh my God, that's a complex issue. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Samuel, your hands were up. Do you still have a question?
Yeah, actually, I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Onyekachi. They have answered part of my question, actually. I'm a surveyor, and I so much believe on spatial data. I wanted to ask this question about ArcGIS Pro. Like now I'm a beginner in this, as in I don't have more knowledge. I don't have much knowledge on GIS Pro. So I don't know if there's a way he can help us or put up a manual or something that can help us something that can put us through learning that software. I don't know, because I've chatted him up quite a number of times on LinkedIn, but it's not responding. I don't know. I've been trying to communicate with him on LinkedIn, but for long, but no response from him.
Okay, Mr. Samuel, I can remember you very well, and I'm so sorry if I have not responded to your mail. It's not like me. I will always respond, you know. However, there is no even me that is speaking, that I learned ArcGIS when it was ArcView, you know, and ArcMap. The best manual, the best teacher to learning ArcGIS, especially ArcGIS, you see help. Please, I have to share my moderator, please. Can I just share my screen? Please. So if you have this installed, though this is for pro, please, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
If you have this installed, you don't need any manual. You don't even need any teacher. You don't need Joshua Okeke, because it's very detailed. It depends on what do you want to learn. For example, if I had the word clip, what is clip about? If I type clip and look at, you see, it explains everything clip is all about here. So I can tell you that when I was learning GIS, I came to this is what I used, but though not for pro, for ArcMap. I will go through this help one after the other, like, you know, you can see it's cascading. So you can, when you click on one, it opens another. You click on one and look at, like, for example, look at all the overlay tools. I don't need to go to anywhere to see, and this is offline. Look at all the overlay tools: erase, identity, intersect. Anyway, you see, it explains them to you, how to use them, and some of them even give you scripts. If you want to run them, you see, it gives you the Python script to run them. So you have it in front of you. This is all you need to learn GIS. You understand? So we have to understand that learning GIS is different from learning ArcGIS. People mix the two. They are two different things. Learning GIS is different from learning ArcGIS. So I think you should explain. You will be able to explain that yourself or understand what I'm trying to say there. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate so much.
You're okay.
Yeah, thank you for that answer, Mr. Joshua. Right, the next question is Ayobami. Ayobami, your hands are up. Please, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, my time is actually done. So, I have two questions. And the first,
Your voice. Can you talk more loud? Can you talk louder? Sorry.
am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Okay. I have two questions. And the first one is, you mentioned how you were able to, that there is a presence of different naming convention when it comes to LGA corresponding to another LGA in another state, right? So in that case, how are you able to really pinpoint and put through? For example, there are instances, I'm speaking personally now, there are instances where you don't have the state variable of the LGA, right? And you find out that you have this LGA having different name, having the same name. For instance, mostly in the northern part of Nigeria, there are thousands and million cases like that. They are exactly the same thing. So that's one. So how were you able to undo that case? And the second question is, I'm currently working on the facility corridor mapping, right? So I want to ask, and as much as I have done that already, but what I need to do is I want to be able to share this work with someone, and they are able to toggle through the interface such that you can tell what that map is speaking to in terms of particular choice of variable. So my question now is, I already have started, I intend using leaflets to have like a dashboard portal kind of look for the data, such that anybody looking at my work can easily understand spatially what has been done. So my question now is, can ArcGIS be used to create something of this nature? So I don't, because I'm already on the leaflet, I'm at the finishing stage. So I just want to know, can ArcGIS really deliver the same thing like leaflets? Thank you.
Okay, please, can you let me answer your first question, right? So for your first question, what I did for myself was I discovered that problem. And the first time I discovered that problem was when I was with UK Aid, and they are now the Procon Plus, right? I discovered that there are a lot of local government that had this issue. So what did I do? Like, we have Surulere in Lagos, and we also have in Oyo, if I'm sure. Yes, we have that in Oyo. So what I did was I created a unique ID for all the local government. So this is something I did for myself. So you need to be you need to have certain level of data engineering for you to be able to do that. So which means this is what I did for myself. So when I'm joining data, or when I'm trying to integrate data, I don't no longer use the local government names. I have the PM, this ID I've created. So that solved that problem for me. So no matter what, how these names are repeated, and also I went through all of them and corrected these names using for me, I use the names that are official, right? Because some of those names are local names, but I use the names that are official by MBS, that the way MBS refer to them. So, and you can see some of them are as a result of what? Hyphens. Like, for example, look at this local government here. You see, Yelmatu, Daba. You see, there has to be a lot of, some of them have to have space, some of them have hyphen. Like some, you see Idiato South and Idiato North. There is always an hyphen. Some don't have hyphen. So, but me, I decided I removed the hyphen. I removed as many as I can, So these are some of those things I did. Then, for your second question, I don't know what to tell you because. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, you can hear you.
But someone seems to want to
speak like for your second question, permit me to speak like a Sambus marketer. There is nothing ArcGIS cannot do. However, leaflets, I think if you are using leaflet for a project, if you are looking at something equivalent for ArcGIS, you can use the ArcGIS Pro. ArcGIS Pro does a lot of things leaflet does, especially if you want to create web apps and you want people to be able to see the models you've created. So I've used ArcGIS Pro in a lot of places because I don't want to start comparing. I don't do that, you understand? And I don't want to start talking like a marketer here. But madam, I think leaflet ArcGIS Pro will actually do that. You want to? Please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. OKK. But
thank you.
I'm not madam to start with. That's just my voice. I'm not a madam. So, but what I want to say concerning your response to the first question, it's not only typically, I don't know how familiar you are with health data, right? On some states within the health data, you will have, especially why I asked this question, is because it's a common challenge within the health sector, especially when it comes to name of facilities. Now, you will have a data collected by MBS. MBS will tell you Angwarimi Primary Health Center, right? When you get to DHIS2, DHIS2 will tell you GAC Angwarimi will tell you, right? When you go through another survey or another data source entirely, it tells you, it could tell you primary health.
Yeah, I understand. Now I understand very clearly what you're trying to say. And that is why every data should have 3 levels of validation. No matter what it is, whether health center, you are collecting data from health center, from schools, you should have 3 level of validation. 1, GPS coordinates. it must have, like me, I don't accept just names of. Then when I was an MIE manager, monitoring and evaluation manager, I don't accept from those field agents or data collectors. You cannot give me data and just give me only the name of the community. No, I need the GPS coordinate. And guess what? No matter how many those GPS coordinates are, I want to map them, zoom in to this location to see that even if it's a school, you're able to collect this GPS coordinate in front of the school. So that way, you will not have. So if you have GPS coordinate and you have enough of name, even if all the schools are called Agwanrimi, Agwanrimi, Agwanrimi 1, Agwanrimi 2 in different local government, all you need to do in ArcGIS is called spatial join. And when you do spatial join will now enforce the correct LGAs and states to each of those points or each of those schools. So that way you don't have those confusion anymore. So you can have as many Agwanrimi, but because you're able to get that level of validation, you were able to know which one you're referring to. But you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or anywhere platform. So I think we'll have this discussion for that. I think because I can see a lot of people have their hands raised. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
I think Musa. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Just to make things clear, we'll limit the questions. But just 1 minute, you ask your question so that he can answer as quickly as possible. So Musa, over to you. After that, Isaac, Bada, and then Sanity.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to appreciate the presenter. The presentation is educative and straightforward to the point, and also giving a clear direction on what ones need to do with such kind of data. My question is, in this age of data-driven informed decisions, I want to know how can one apply the data like yours in making an informed decision for sustainability? Thank you.
Yeah, so basically for the kind of data I have, you can apply it especially in the area of monitoring and evaluation, impact evaluation, then theory of change in terms of when you are designing programs. If you are designing intervention programs, because like I said, I'm not in the government. I've never been interested in anything in the government. So I'm not speaking in terms of government now. But I know definitely the government has a lot to do because they design these policies. But I'm looking at it in terms of, okay, I'm interested in solving the issue of out of school children, or I'm interested in solving the issue of lack of potable water, or I'm interested in the issue of, teachers, schools not having teachers. How do we go about it? So you could do this kind of analysis, use this kind of data to get insight, and you'll be able to know the areas that you can start up the intervention. So it will not be emotional, because sometimes some of, especially the government, do things based on sentiments, emotion, in personal interest, or stereotype. So there are a lot of stereotypes that goes on. So people now want to do based intervention on stereotype, which that is why at the end of the day it will fail. But if you have this kind of analysis, you are well informed. It's now based on data. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was well understood. Bada, you're next. Please, 1 minute. Please, we can't hear you, Mr. Bada. Okay, please, Isaac, can you ask your question now? Why Mr. Bada sorts out his audio?
Yeah, hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Isaac, a cartographer and a GIS analyst. So, my question is that, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right, good. So how can we check the accuracy and the authenticity of this data? And as well, how do we filter this data? That's my question. Thank you.
Please, can you ask the second part? How do we what?
How do we filter this data you're talking about? How do we filter it? Since you said it's a very a large data and it needs filtering. Yeah.
Okay. The accuracy of the data, like I said, for location, the most accurate level of the data you can get in terms of location is to get the GPS coordinate in WGS, especially when it's in decimal degrees. If you can give any GIS analyst that kind of data, you have solved the problem. So for the data I'm using, it actually has the GPS coordinates of all the hospitals, the GPS coordinates of the tap, you understand, where those taps are located, right? Yeah. And the GPS coordinate of the primary healthcare centers, the data is describing. So you see, and I've told you, I've actually visualized it and zoomed to a lot of them. If you use the base map on ArcGIS Pro, you can actually see some of the images. So you can see the roof of the hospital, you can see the roof or the fence of the school. So that is a way of doing it. Then filtering, it all depends on what you want to filter on. You want to filter by state, by local government, but I don't think filtering is the only challenge that goes on with the data in terms of cleaning. There are other challenges, when it comes to, for example, removing duplicates. You could have duplicates, spellings, right? Then removing unwanted values like outliers or inliers. They can even have inliers or lower layers. Then you also have removing unwanted text or character. You understand? So these are some kind of data cleaning you do, and that's the aspect of data engineering. Then transformation too. Transformation has to do with aggregation, recounting, and the rest of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. Okay. I'm sorry, please. I don't know the data source. Can you please tell me the source of your data?
So I said MDG.
NDG.
MDG is the MDG. It was MDG before it was now changed to to the Sustainable Development Goals. You have SDGs.
Okay.
Yeah, it's now called SDG. So before SDG, we have the MDGs. Okay. Yeah, the Millennium Development Goals. Then it was called the Millennium Development Goals. So that's where the data is gotten from. And you can get it online, just that it's not really directly online. I think you can go to Columbia Data Center. Yeah, Columbia University. Yeah. If you want to get a clean version, at least a more reasonable version of this data, you could go to Columbia Data Science. Center. Yeah. Center. Columbia University. Yeah. Columbia University. Right. You could get from there.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Edikachi. Please, Mr. Bada, can you reach out to him? Mr. Edika, please, can you give us your LinkedIn handle so that some of them can ask questions, if that's all right by you?
Okay, but if he's available, when I get the link, he can ask his question. I don't mind. Yes.
All right. So, Mr. Bada, let's see if we can hear you now. Can you unmute yourself and speak?
Oh, he's not here yet. Okay.
I think he's not audible. Okay. So they could probably reach out to you later.
Yes, I'll just drop my LinkedIn profile on. Yes. Thank you.
All right. So his LinkedIn profile is on the chat box. So thank you so much, Mr. Bada. And before we will go, we'll still bring him up again because we have some Geo Academy students on the call. and we would like you to share some of your experiences and some of the pitfalls that they should avoid as they try to advance in their geospatial career. Yes, but before that, I would like to have my colleague in that to give us some information. Yes, you have told us how this technology can be applied to for NGOs. So how is Sambus Geospatial helping NGOs in this regard? How are they helping NGOs to ensure that this technology is applied? And that's it.
I think before he comes in, I just want to comment personally, for someone like me that has been in the NGO sector since 2018, before I left the country, I want to really appreciate Sambus because most softwares that are sold to commercial entities at very high amount in terms of like up to, sorry, I have to mention a figure now. Softwares that are sold to up to 7 million naira. Sambus gives it to, as long as you can verify that you're a non-profit organization, Sambus offers it to them at as low as $100. I just have to say this. It's something that I feel the federal government should even appreciate Sambus for that, because they give these NGOs at this amount advanced full functions and being a beneficial to it. I've also recommended other NGOs on this, and it's something I all have to commend them on. And I hope one day, like I said, I'm not connected to the government. I would have asked Tinubu to say, okay, give Sambus a special recognition because they are really trying. Imagine 7 million naira and you are giving it to non-profit organization at $100. It does not change. Go there to tomorrow, verify that you are a non-profit, and you get the license at $100. So that's really nice. Sambus, apologies, I'm mentioning amounts here. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, in case they want to verify, they can as well come to us and purchase. Yeah, so that's it. Is how.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chidi. Before I proceed, I would like to commend Mr. Joshua. Thank you for the wonderful and insightful presentation. So, moving forward, aside the webinars that we'll be having every month, to support the operational efficiency of NGOs and non-profit organizations, Sambus Geospatial is offering a 2-day workshop for non-profit organizations. This workshop promises to provide valuable insights into the effectiveness of the ArcGIS suite and its essential role in enhancing their work. Thank you.
Thank you so much in that. And Mr. Edika mentioned that it's not just about mapping and it's not just about locations and the rest. Are there any other things NGOs can do with the ArcGIS?
Yes, of course. Aside mapping, using the ArcGIS tools, we have storytelling, digital story map, Survey 123, and ArcGIS dashboard. The story map helps an organization to tell a digital map to create interactive digital story that activates your audience, inform data-driven decision, and tell your story like never before. Just like the Survey 123, ArcGIS Survey 123. You use this to create survey. This is done by you, by your staff, not outsiders. You get answers to your surveys and analyze the results. Then ArcGIS dashboard. This allows you to create and share web-based interactive dashboards to help you make your map easy to present and enables you to share real-time mapping, visualization, and track your program outcomes. It enables you to measure impacts that align with your organization's workforce. Thank you.
Thank you so much in that. So, in addition to making maps, you can also share stories. NGO do a lot of reporting. ArcGIS dashboard could help you do that. And you can also document your whole journey using ArcGIS story map. So there's a whole lot in this package for NGOs and other organizations alike. And in addition, she mentioned complementary trainings which we offer, to teach you how these softwares are being used. And there's one more question. I don't know if we could take that. Mr. Telvin.
Okay. Okay, to add to that, if you work in a non-profit or non-governmental organization, you can reach out to us to have access to this workshop. It's actually a free 2 days workshop organized for different sectors, which NGOs is included. I'll be dropping some link on the chats to have access to detailed information of what ArcGIS suites can do for your organizations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ndatu, for that. So, Mr. Telvin, quickly, 30 seconds.
So, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello. Please, can you speak up a bit?
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I was asking if you can, other than going to all those data sets, can you scrape the data from the Google Earth engine and do the work in Python, and instead of going to the softwares like JS Pro, maybe for example you can the MGWR, can you use Python instead, that library, rather than using the JS Pro? That's the question.
Okay, let me quickly just answer that. Google Earth Engine does not know the name of, does not know number of schools or number of teachers in a school, right? And it's not all the elementary schools that Google Earth Engine has. So let's understand the roles of these platforms. You understand? So Google Earth Engine is not meant for getting, or there are a lot of data about Nigeria that Google Earth cannot access. Let's be sincere. You understand? For example, people living with HIV/AIDS and their location. Google Earth Engine does not have that. Number of children, or there are some data that Google Earth Engine does not have. So especially survey data that are confidentially conducted. Google Earth does not have it. But if you're looking at environmental data, you're looking at satellite images data, and some of these data are derived. For example, it's not as if Google Earth has slope data. No, you derive slope data from the DEM data you get from Google Earth. So again, a lot of people keep confusing. There are also ArcGIS Pro also has Living Atlas, and people don't use it. Living Atlas, you don't even need to write any script. The data are available for you. They are already processed. For example, I prefer using the land use land curve classification on Living Atlas than even going to Google Earth Engine to start writing script and rest of that. If you go to Living Atlas on ArcGIS Pro, land use land curve classification is well done and even has the accuracy there. All you need to do is to clip for the area you want. You can download and clip, or just go on the run, just analyze. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that insightful answer. Thank you so much, Mr. Yedika. So like we discussed earlier, we have Geo Academy students here, and I get a lot of questions from them most times. Look, what do I learn? How do I go about this? I want to be a special data scientist, and a lot of them are in schools, and there's so much to learn. There's so much in the internet. So what advice do you give to those students on the call? Please, Mr. Etikachi, you're muted.
Okay, you say students, but I don't know. Are all these students now? Is everyone here a student?
No, not everyone here.
Okay, that means you're not doing like a politician. This is a setup. I have my bosses here, and you are okay. So you mean I should talk to everybody here as a student?
No, some Geo Academy students joined this call. Yes.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
No, talk to us as a student. As a student, please.
It's a setup anyway. But again, my name is Joshua and Onyedikachi Joshua. I was born in Jos. I need to start with this so that you understand the background. I was born and brought up in Jos, Bukuru Locus. I schooled in Geospatial Jos. Then I left Jos in 2008. I was able to attend Rectors, the Regional Center for Training Aerospace Survey, now AFRIGIS. Then they were doing program for people that just school start. You know, there was a program then. It was specifically for people that just finished secondary school. And it was like a technician diploma. I was so shocked that they scrapped that program. So the technician diploma is for technicians. That's the DPM5. So then through Professor Yuki Rikoya, I was admitted to GPM5 program then with my WIAC result. And I started GPM5. So the GPM5 was all about practical. Everything we did, both exam was all about practical, using ACMAP, using Idris, Envy, different Tiger, and then we're using Access for database. So then that was when I attended a program for, it was almost 2 years. And that was when I learned the ACMAP, in the practical sense. Then before I went to Osun State University, where I studied applied mathematics. And today I'm in the US here doing masters in spatial statistics. I'm more interested in spatial statistics. However, in terms of career-wise, I started my career interestingly in Sambus. I was the first technical staff here in Sambus here. And before I now moved to NGO sector. In terms of GIS and the technology itself is something I'm so passionate about. When I mean passionate is there's difference. A lot of people come into GIS because they've looked for a job and they could not see. And they've told them that if you can have GIS skills, there is job there. A lot of people came into GIS, they feel because there's a lot of money in GIS. Well, that is not for my case, right? Because to be sincere, that was not my case. I also love colors. I love playing with colors, and GIS gives you that leverage. In fact, there's a whole tutorial on colors. So what drives my passion and how do I go about it is first for people that are just coming in newly. You are just you studied business administration and you want to come into GIS. I think the first thing you need to understand is the fundamentals. So there's a book. I read that book from start to finish. I still have a copy. I read that book from start to finish, and I read a lot of hard books. Yes, the book is from by ITC Netherlands, the Principles of GIS. It's called the Principle of GIS. So then I had to read that book from start to finish. You understand? So you need to understand the basic principles of GIS, right? It's very important. For example, from the definition of GIS, the subsystems of GIS, the components of GIS, the principle of data types in GIS, right? You need to understand all that. Data types in GIS, types of analysis in GIS, raster-based analysis, vector-based analysis, SQL-based analysis, for example, selection and results. So you need to really sit down and read all that. Now, how do you go about reading these things? Is it that you use a tutorial? For example, You can go on Esri Academy, create a free account, and you will see free tutorials available for beginners, right? Thank God for ChatGPT. You can interact with ChatGPT to teach you, right? Also, you could also use the software application help. So I'm talking to beginners, people that are just starting. This is what you should do. Now, you can read about all this without even launching the software. You can read about the principles of GIS. It's different from the principle of ACMA. They are two different things, or it's different from, and I've said it, understanding GIS is different from understanding ArcGIS Pro. They are two different things. You might understand ArcGIS Pro, but you don't still understand GIS. So for you to understand GIS, you need to read GIS books. You need to read GIS materials. You cannot run away from it. You need to read GIS textbooks, right? Yeah. But if you want to now learn Pro, now once you've done that and you've understand these basics, oh, I now know the difference between raster and vector. I now know the type of analysis and the proximity analysis. I know the suitability analysis. I know all that, right? Then you can now say, okay, what is ArcGIS Pro all about? Which one can I go for? You can even go for QGIS. Yes, you can start with QGIS. That's fine. Avoid comparison, unnecessary comparison. Oh, GIS is I don't do that. Anybody that does that is still a toddler in the industry. Anybody that comes and start comparing, oh, QGIS is better than ArcGIS. No, you don't do that. All of them have their strength, and I have both of them installed on my system. And I can tell you there are some cases whereby some things ArcGIS Pro cannot do or ArcMap could not do. I have to quickly switch to QGIS to get it done. And there are some things I prefer doing on ArcMap. So, but you notice that if you run buffer on Pro, 500 meters buffer from maybe a school on Pro, do you know that it's going to be the same result if you run it on QGIS? Do you know that? It's the same result. So that is why 1 + 1 must be 2, no matter the calculator you are using. And that is why if you are studying mathematics, they have to tell you first learn how to do these things by hand before you even use calculator. Before you move to calculator, first learn the principle of 1 + 1 or the principle of mathematical operations first before you use calculator. So that is how it is, which means no matter the software you are using, 500 buffer from a school will be the same result using any platform. So you see why platforms are not really important. What is important is understanding those principles. Now, once you've done that, then you decide which platform. It could be ArcMap, it could be Pro. Now, for me, I still read a lot. Okay, just like it's blank. I still read a lot of books on different issues. Like this is getting to know ArcGIS. So I buy these books from Esri, and you also have focus on, like this is focus on geodatabase, right? So these are from Esri. I still buy these books. Now, what should drive your passion? It's always a problem for people, because you see some people, oh, I want to learn GIS, I want to learn you install it on their system. The next week, oh my God, you start asking, what happened to that passion? How did it go? It's just about how you are going about it. Now, I keep telling people, you don't need a tutorial. You don't need a tutor. You don't need Joshua Okeke to come and sit with you every week or every day for you to learn the software. You don't. And the only thing you need to do is just devote a day, every day, 1 hour or 2 hours. Check the amount of time you spend on Twitter, TikTok, right? Convert those time to just spending a 30 minutes or 1 hour on either help, ArcGIS help, or QGIS help. I'm telling you, you will be surprised of the knowledge you've gathered on GIS within a 1 month. Then when it comes to practicing on the software cannot die. Do you understand? It's like it's only a human head. Like if I give you somebody's, it's okay, let me play around with somebody's head. You'll be scared that if you keep smashing the person will faint. But for software, it cannot spoil. That's another people fear, how people have, oh, this thing to crash. Yes, let it crash. Restart your system. So don't be scared that you will spoil something if you go into that aspect. For example, there are some parts of ArcGIS tool that a lot of people are scared of going to. No, try to launch them, open them, see the kind of data that is needed for them, and see how you can get those data to actually practice them. For example, 3D, 3D or the rest of that. So now, I prefer you devote a day, 1 hour every day, or 30 minutes every day on either practical learning or trying to read. Okay, today I just want to read about network analysis. Just one day, just 1 hour, you are done. If you can keep that consistently, I give you the next 6 months, you must have understood or have learned a lot on it. Now, there is no aspect of human endeavor that GIS is not applied to today. Do you understand? No matter how automated or how there are aspects of GIS that cannot be replaced. For example, as long as flood will keep occurring, you will still be doing analysis such as flood vulnerability. As long as people will keep constructing roads, you will still do analysis like right of way. These are GIS analysis. There are a lot of places in Nigeria now that roads has to be constructed or expanded. You will still do right of way. So which means GIS analysis is a technology, or geospatial technology is a technology of the future. It's not something you will learn and it will just go into thin air. It's not like MMM that it will just, no, GIS is going to last forever. Let's if you want to be sincere with ourselves. Now, if you want to go to advanced, we're not talking about Geo AI. They showed us about hair technology. We are talking of automations. Here in the US, Amazon now use robots to deliver items to people's homes. So, yes. So that's it. What do you think they use? They use location intelligence to do that, and it's still GIS application, right? So now, how do you organize your learning? The next question is, how do I organize my learning? What do I learn at what point? Now, it's up to you to organize your learning. There is nothing like, it all depends. Yes, we can have basic or introductory GIS. We can have intermediate and we have advanced. That was how GIS organized their training. And that is how people adopt it. But it doesn't matter. For example, please, can you see my screen? Hello?
You can see your screen.
Okay, fine. So, yeah, you can see the, and I'm sure you can see the Arc toolbox, right? Now, yes, I can decide this week, all I'm going to learn is, I want to learn analysis tools, right? And I want to know what is the difference between select and clip. The overlay tools, what are the difference between identity and intersect? So all I need to do is to try to launch the intersect tool. And when you launch it, it always have this for pro. You see? Did you see that pop up? Even without running the tool, it explains what this tool is all about. Right? That is how to learn. For people that are asking, how do I learn? How do I go about? How do I learn? This is how to learn too. Right? Then you also have pairwise. You have the pairwise buffer. You have the proximity tool. You also have the multiple ring buffer. Like, okay, what is the difference between multiple ring buffer and the normal buffer? So that is how to learn. So you can decide in 1 week, day 1, I'll learn buffer, day 2, just like that. Don't forget 1 hour, just 1 hour every day. no matter how busy, as long as you have time to wake up, wash your mouth, eat. As long as you have time to eat, you create time to eat, no matter how busy you eat, that means you have time. So see ArcMap, that's how I see ArcMap. See ArcMap as food. If I can create time to eat, I will have to also create time to learn. So that's it. So no matter the situation, even if there's no light, I can use my phone. You can also access this on your phone. Do you understand? So that is how you discipline. And finally, I'm talking to students now. Self-discipline, very important. You need to understand that you see, this software has opened a lot of doors, unimaginable doors for me. In fact, for the fact Sambus is even calling me for this, it shows because of what they've actually seen what I do. So I believe in this too. So when you are learning, have that in mind. It might not give you it might not even be the one bringing the food to your table, because that's always a challenge for people. Actually, like, okay, the GIS, oh, I've learned it, what next? No. Make it look like this is something you love doing, you're passionate about it, and you want to keep doing. It will always pay off, because the more you learn, the more confidence you have, and the more you can actually approach that your director, that's your management, and tell them, please, we need to change how we do things. Because that's what I always do. Any organization I find myself, the first thing I want to do is a lot of things have to change. So, but you can only do that if you learn well. Because if you don't understand these basics, you might want to go and bring an outsider, an external person to explain these things, and to make you look like a mediocre. They will even take the outsider serious than you. So, but if you keep learning, you will have that. Learning builds your confidence. So just devote 1 day every day, or 1 hour every day. I've showed you how to go about learning. You can also watch YouTube videos. You could also use the ArcMap tool. ArcMap help tool does not need internet. You understand? So even when there's no internet, and it's even very good because you can disconnect all your internet. You will not have any disturbance from WhatsApp or Twitter or something. The ArcMap tool is offline. You can just use it to read through. Okay. Then in terms of professionalism, I also have ArcGIS technical certification, and I think we have a group of ArcGIS technical certified people, and most of them are from Sambus here. And so far we are like almost 6 or so from Nigeria that currently I'm the only one that has the ArcGIS professional technical certification, ArcGIS Pro technical certification. It's also good to do those technical certification exams, but you have to be very, very good before you attempt it, because definitely, even me, I have attempted some of them several times and I failed. Yeah, back in Nigeria then. So technical certification is good. Then attending workshops and training, they are very, very nice too. Then another way you can access free data is on OSM. You can go and access data from OSM. Now, when you access data from OSM, OSM gives you data about Nigeria, the entire country. You can play around with it. Try to run clips. Try to run select by location. Try to learn some of the basics analysis, right? You must not jump into Google engine. Don't jump into Python. Python is not GIS. So don't get carried away when people say, oh, I'm using Python to automate. Python is not GIS. So even if you are not using Python for now, but at least you are making progress on ArcMap, don't feel intimidated. I see a lot of people get frustrated thinking that the only aspect that gives money in GIS is Python. Is a lie. It's not true, right? Where I work currently, strictly what we use is ArcGIS Pro. Python, we use it when we want to automate. So that's it. The other skills you can learn to support GIS is database management, SQL query. You need to learn database management, very important, because ArcGIS Pro, ArcGIS, GIS, the attribute table is all about database, right? Then analytical skills or mindset, analytical mindset. Like if I look at a problem, I can tell you, okay, the conceptual aspect of that problem. What are the variables that I need? Where can I get those data from? If I put one or two together, okay, there is a flooding going on, or I want to do a flood analysis. What are the variables I need? What kind of approach do I need to analyze? See, if there's flooding, you don't need to start doing multi-criteria suitability analysis, start getting the NDVI, start getting the... No, that is not what is fit for that time. No, all you just need is to... So what is the level of the flood, or what is the level of this water, or the extent of the flood? And you just run in simple buffer, just buffer selection. All the buildings that are within this buffer. So it's just like NNPC contacting you as a GIS analyst. Please, we have a right of way, but we discover it happened in LMA in Port Harcourt. But we discovered that there are a lot of buildings that are within this right of way. How do we get this building? You don't need to do much analysis. It's just to digitize all the buildings within the right of way and do selection by location. Select buildings within the pipeline, the right of way of 500 meters or 300, depending on what the distance is. And that's what it will select all the buildings. You see, just 2 or 3 steps GIS analysis. And that alone has solved a lot of problems of sending field workers to the field to start checking one after the other, whether they will start using measuring tape and survey equipment. No, so the same thing for road expansion. So I'm just trying to tell you how very simple GIS skills are actually solving complex real-world problems. Do you understand? In fact, the most popular GIS problem that solve the complex real-world problems are not based on Python. They are not based on very large. No, they are very simple GIS geoprocessing tools to use, and that is why we have the geoprocessing tools. They are the most common, but they are most essential. I've mentioned several ways where buffer is used. When it comes to flooding, when it comes to suitability analysis, when it comes to area coverage and the rest of that. So I think I will stop there for now. And finally, job. I know a lot of people like, okay, job. How do I land the first GIS job? See, when it comes to job, all I will tell you is you have to promote yourself. That is how it is today. Because don't expect people to validate your skills based on what you have on what you wrote on your CV. ChatGPT can create those things on your CV, but you really need to validate your skills, and there are a lot of ways. For example, for the past 5 years, I've been paying for ArcGIS license myself from my own pocket. But what have I been doing? I've created a lot of dashboards. So when I'm talking to people, or if I'm applying, I have those projects or those links on my CV. So you can click it and verify that yes, I did such. And I also created a portfolio. Every GIS analyst or GIS expert should have a portfolio. At least there should be a clickable link whereby I can go and verify things you have done. Then also social media presence, right? If you want to be an influencer, be an influencer. But for me, my social media is dedicated to what I'm passionate about, which is what GIS. And that is why when you go on LinkedIn, oh my God, I'm always everywhere when it comes to spatial statistics, because that is what I'm interested in. So you have to be like that. If you are truly passionate about GIS, then now GIS will not stop you from doing every other thing you want to do as a person. You can combine both. For example, my background is mathematics and statistics, and I'm very good in GIS or ArcGIS. I wanted a saddle point. Where can both of them meet? And both of them met on spatial statistics. And today, I'm still doing what I love doing as a mathematician or a statistician, and I'm still doing the GIS in terms of what spatial statistics. So as a banker or as an environmentalist or as a government official, you can still combine both of them and still be good at what you do. You understand? There are aspect of Nigeria that GIS has not even got into, that they have not started using GIS. Maybe that should be on another workshop. I can mention so many aspects that where the GIS has not even been used in Nigeria. So don't think is overflooded. That's not true. And most good GIS experts, especially when they acquire the skills and they are very good, they mostly leave Nigeria. I know a lot that are preparing to leave or have left. So that is it. You have to promote yourself for you to be able to land those jobs, so that when you apply and they are able to, they are trying to verify if it's true, it can be verifiable that yes, you have the skills and it's established. So thank you. I don't know if there's any question.
Thank you so much. I know by now you have written like 5 pages from what you have just said now. Yeah, so that's actually a good start for our Geo Academy student. Thank you for your expert advice and for the entire webinar as well. We are very, very grateful. Yes. So finally, I would like to invite my team lead, Mr. Edmond Sinabiji, to give his closing remarks on what has been an insightful and extraordinary first webinar of the year. In fact, this is such a good start. Yes, I would like to bring up Mr. Edmond now for his closing remarks and other remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chidi, for introducing me. First of foremost, I want to appreciate Master Okeke for sharing your knowledge and experience. Permit me to thank you as the Geospatial evangelist, because your contribution has really made this session highly impactful. To my wonderful team as well, I really want to appreciate you for dedicating your time as well as ensuring this webinar comes to a success, and also to our participants, your presence and contributions, your questions are what make this webinar worthwhile. Well, I will encourage you all to take these lessons learned from this session, and as well as apply them in your respective fields. And let's continue this conversation going forward for a positive change in our environment. And thank you once again. And we look forward to having you in our next session next month. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful day. Chidi, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Edmond. So this recording will be available on our social media platforms and on YouTube. So our social media platforms will be posted on the comment section. Please do well to like and follow, as well as stay updated on what's happening. We'll be having subsequent webinars every month targeting specific and pertinent issues arising in our world, and we will also love you to be part of it as well. So thank you so very much for joining. I wish you the best. Thank you, Mr. Okeke. Thank you to all our participants. Have a beautiful, beautiful Thursday. God bless you.